Mic check.
Tell me why. Why can't we live together?
Yeah, I got it.
Tell me why. Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
Hello, all you melanated beauties, sun-kissed by God's lips. This is Coy with your black tea sip. I'm sipping power to pour you the truth. Go grab your cup. Let's fill it up. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome and happy Friday to all the melanated nation, you beauties out there. We got a lot to talk about today. Y'all know that these presidential debates have had me, well, yawning. But, and we'll get to it. So, DirecTV. Those of you who have DirecTV, I got some tea for you, and I want you to know exactly what you should be doing with DirecTV. So let me pull it up here so that we can have a really intelligent conversation because, we lost Channel 11. Did you know that?
I do.
We lost Channel 11. We lost Channel 21. And because of that, I want to tell you what you can do about it. So here we go. You can call DirecTV and you can follow these simple steps. You call them and you tell them that you're extremely unhappy, that you're so unhappy that you have lost Channel 11. And I suggest you embellish. Because, see, I didn't tell them from the beginning. They said, "Do you having problems with your channel?" I said, "No." I said, "But what I'd like to know is why the bill is $250. There's hardly anything on anyway. You always have to stream." And so we went through, and she told me all she could give me was $7. And so the bill was going to go from $250.80 to $243.40. And that just wasn't good enough for you, girl. And so I went on, and I allowed her to say whatever she was saying, and then I pontificated. And I said, well, I just think I'm going to go to Spectrum because I can't get Channel 11. I can't get NCIS New Orleans. I can't get Gayle King in the morning on the CBS morning show. And I just went on and on. And she said, ma'am, you said the right word. So, ladies and gentlemen, Melanated Nation, the word is, but I think you ought to play it like I played it. The word is go to Spectrum. I do not have Channel 11. And then this is what you will get. Drum roll, please. You will get $30 off for 12 months, period. You will get $8 off for 12 months HBO. For 12 full months, that's $38. You will get $7 off for 6 months for Showtime. You will get 3 months free. Yes, free 99. Stars, Cinemax, and the sports package. And you will get $20 off for 1 month for The Dispute. That brought my bill from $250 to $126.53. Yes, melanated people. 126. I got a good show for you today. I got my boy in here, Chris Patrick, my brother from another mother. We've been friends a long time. I've known him a long time, and I brought him in because y'all always get me. I really think that's enough, but I try to give the people what they want. And so you get me, and today you get him because even though people say I think like a man, I thought we ought to have an authentic man in the show today to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about that at 12 o'clock hour. We're going to get into this presidential debate. We're going to talk about the dildo of the day. I have so many candidates. And we're going to talk about black excellence. There are a lot of those as well. This is Coy with your black tea sip. Go grab your cup. I'm going to fill it up.
All right. Oh, say we.
you know, y'all know that I do Dildo of the Day Award and I do the Black Excellence Award. And I do that because there's too much foolishness going on out here in these streets. But I think what is really happening is that people are starting to pay more attention with what's actually going on in the world. And so I think it's very important for us to stop looking at what we see on the surface and start paying attention to what we actually see for real. So on Twitter, somebody sent this to me. So a white woman is completely naked, showing her public hairs and everything, completely naked. And she takes a fire extinguisher and she breaks out the window of a store and she crawls through the bottom of this broken window. And as she's running, completely naked, she has a cell phone and car keys in her hand, and she's in a little light trot jog, completely naked. And as she's running, she begins to defecate.
Oh, nasty.
So I'm thinking to myself, whatever happened to this poor woman scared the pure out of her. But people in the comments were saying she's on drugs and she's this and she's that. But there was a police officer there that saw her breaking out, that watched her run out of the store completely naked, held a taser gun on her, and tased her. She poses no threat because she's running away. Clearly, she's getting into a car, so you have tags. And she's bucket naked, so she's not posing a threat because she is naked. She has a unless he thinks he's going to die by cell phone radiation, there's no reason for him to think this woman poses a threat. But because we don't pay attention to things, we only look at the surface, nobody's paying attention to this woman was brutalized. No one's wondering about the brutality that actually took place with, in the store that would cause her to run out naked. And he's saying something to her and she's saying something back that you can't hear because the person that filmed it never let their window down. I mean, they ain't gonna get no award.
So she was inside the store and she broke out the store?
Yes. And the lights in the store are off. So, of course, I'd like to say my investigative prowess, but some of y'all would say I'm nosy. But I watched that 2 or 3 times and looked at all the surroundings. And so today I want to give a shout out to the flashlight cop that thought it was appropriate to tase a naked woman running away because he is clearly qualifies for the Dildo of the Day award. But I can't leave it there. I can't leave it there, Chris, because Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs is dating his son's girlfriend. Do you know who that is, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies and gents, the son's girlfriend is none other than Lori Harvey. Yes, you heard me correctly. Steve Harvey's adopted daughter. Adopted because it's Marjorie's daughter, but I think the Harvey name carried far more weight than the dope dealer inmate locked up daddy that she had. And so they got the Harvey name because that's not his child, that's Lori's child. But still, I love a blended family. Let me not try to be ugly. And so with that being said, she is 27 years younger than he is. She, I believe, was younger than his son Justin Combs, and they are now an item, dressing alike in everything in the Hamptons. Isn't that sweet? We also have Reverend Alveda King. She is the niece of Martin Luther the King Jr. And she is a defender of Trump. I think we should talk about that more in just a minute, but I think it's important for you to hear that she definitely qualifies. And I'll give you the actual award recipient in just a little while, but let's talk about some black excellence before we get into this presidential debate. Simone Manuel, first African American. They keep saying first American. She is the first American, but I'd like to throw our color in there. No shade, no tea. And she swept the 100 and 100 freestyle at the Swimming Worlds finals in South Korea last Sunday. It was Sunday night, and it was an 8-day event, Chris. She won 5 golds and 6 silvers. Never has that been done ever before. And guess what? We took over tennis. Now we about to dominate swimming Y'all have gone on to get into some field hockey and some polo, and let's see what we can make happen. First black woman to complete neurosurgery residence at Baylor College of Medicine, Dr. Vanita Simpson. She is the first since the college inception in 1956. And both of them are honorable mentions because black excellence. It's not just black girl magic, it's black man magic. It is running very, very, very rampant through this melanation.
So we keep winning.
We have Carl Albany. I tell them all the time, they tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds. He was a car mechanic. Did not do well in high school. Did not graduate with a cumulative 2.0. But you know what? Do not let somebody tell you where you are, what you should and should not be doing with your life. Because they said that he could almost look at a car and make it run. He became so popular with people in the community that he would tell them, okay, I'll fix it after work, until he actually became a mechanic. And he was one of the best diagnostics mechanics that they had ever seen. So he decided that he would take a leap of faith. Because, see, it's never too old to learn. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to get your paper if that's what you want. He started going to night school, taking one class or two classes at a time. He ended up talking to a doctor, a surgeon from Johns Hopkins in Cleveland, world-renowned hospital, who was teaching his class. He wanted to know, as a mechanic, why did he need biology? But he fell in love with it. And just this past May, Carl Albany graduated from medical school at 47 years old, and he gets the Black Excellence Award of the day. All right. We got presidential debates. We got 20 candidates. Now, I know I told y'all this before. It was 267 people that filed and said they wanted to run for president on the Democratic and the Republican Party. And with that being said, we have 20 that made the list. Now, this is how you get to the stage, okay? It's about a selection process during the Democratic National Convention. And this selection process, they say, has prompted many, many people through the Democratic Party as well as the Republican Party. We'll see that in just a minute. But this is how you qualify. You get entered in the polls, and people call around. So, you got the Quinnipiac poll. Even the local stations will run polls. And you have all these people calling you and asking questions. Sometimes people answer, sometimes they don't. And that costs money. That costs money from the candidate. It costs money from people that are running it. But it's all about dollars. If it don't make dollars, then it don't make sense. And then they decide where you are in the ranking from these polls. So you have some qualified people that can't raise the money. They don't have the funding. They be qualified because they understand the issues and they have a plan. People talk about Elizabeth Warren. They're laughing about Elizabeth Warren, but she has a plan for every single thing that she brings to the stage. Whether or not it'll actually work, I don't know. But it is thoughtfulness that says, I'm going to pay for it, and I'm going to do this, and this is how I'm going to pay for it. And I think that's important. But I don't want to digress. This presidential debate has allowed me to see several people, not just Democrats, but Republicans, in a new light. In fact, little weasel Lindsey Graham is even in on it. We're going to listen to it real quick. Y'all listen up.
What turns you on about Cruz?
That he's not Trump.
That's all you need?
And that he's a Republican who will not, we will not get completely killed. And if Donald Trump cares to banner my party, I think it taints conservatism for generations to come. I think his campaign is opportunistic, race-baiting, religious bigotry, xenophobia. Other than that, he'd be a good nominee.
So that was the Daily Show with Trevor Noah, and that was Lindsey Graham. Can you believe the little Republican weasel, Lindsey Graham? I call him a weasel because, weasel signifies also personality, depth, and attitude, and aptitude. But he really looks like a little mercat. Doesn't he look real soft and squishy, like he would just crumble? Okay. But anyway, Lindsey Graham has been a proponent of Trump. He's always talking about Trump and this. And you know what? Someone said it very eloquently. And I don't remember who said it. I think it was Carville, the Democrat big-time consultant, James Carville, who ran the Clinton's party and was in the cabinet. He said, Republicans fall in line and Democrats fall in love. We love candidates. Oh my God, we just love them. Y'all all on the Kamala Harris tip, honey. Y'all really. And so you had Tulsi Gabbard from the presidential debate that handed her her hat. See, we fall in love. The Republicans fall in line. And so now they're kind of falling out of line because they want Ted Cruz to run for president. And they're looking for someone who can beat Trump. We're looking for someone who we can love on, who we believe signifies what we want to believe about ourselves. That's how Bush got in office. That's how Trump got in office. But we're not as good at narration and storytelling as the Republicans are. And that is a huge problem. And we don't seem to be able to rectify and solve it correctly. And so this is what I want to say. I've had a lot of people say to me that they think that they disagree with the attacks on Kamala Harris. Well, we fundamentally disagree about what an attack is, because I think that to attack someone means that you go after them senselessly, not on the merits. It's a nonsensical attack. You can't draw a delineated line and understanding of what the points of view are. I think that's an attack of a person, bringing outside things that don't have anything to do with the question at hand. Can she be the chief leader of this country? I have talked about things that deal with her record, and Tulsi Gabbard did the same. Do we have the Tulsi Gabbard? Not this. I think I have one before this one. So I want y'all to listen to. No, I don't have it. Tulsi Gabbard said during the presidential debate, she wanted to know when they posed the question to her, it was not about criminal justice reform, but that's what she wanted to get in. And she slid it right on in there. And she talked about Kamala Harris locking up 1,500 people on weed offenses, and then shrugging her shoulders at the fact when they asked her about smoking weed. Well, now she's talking about what was on the Breakfast Club. But what she said was she smoked weed in college while listening to Snoop Dogg and Tupac. Excuse me, I done put them together. You know, like they said, you know how they always make these couples go together. Well, I guess I did. You know, don't use that. Mm-hmm. So she said, and they said that she made light of it. Well, in my opinion, she didn't make light of it. She lied. Because when Snoop Dogg and Tupac were born and living at the time that she was listening to them and smoking weed, they would have been 6 years old. I mean, they didn't get the Bow Wow contract, you know, so I don't know what you're talking about. But to me, that's pandering, and I said that black people don't have to pander to black people unless they don't see themselves aligned in the black story with the black community. And so Tulsi Gabbard called her out on that. And so what you're about to hear is a CNN interview with Anderson Cooper, and I want to let you hear it, and then we're going to talk about it.
Toughest critique or attacks at you came from Tulsi Gabbard. Just for our viewers who haven't seen it, I just want to play some of that and have you respond.
Okay. I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place. That impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris, your response.
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform.
Did you expect that from Tulsi Gabbard? Had you had interaction about that in the past, and how do you think it went?
Well, I mean, listen, this is going to sound immodest, but I'm obviously a top-tier candidate, and so I did expect that I would be on the stage and take hits tonight because there are a lot of people that are trying to make the stage for the next debate.
Yeah, for a lot of them, it's do or die.
Well, yeah, and especially when people are at 0 or 1% or whatever she might be at. And so I did expect that I might take hits tonight. But, you know, listen, I think that this coming from someone who has been an apologist for an individual, Assad, who has murdered the people of his country like cockroaches. She who has embraced and been an apologist for him in a way that she refuses to call him a war criminal. I can only take what she says in her opinion so seriously. And so I'm prepared to move on.
All right. Now, I know that you guys are saying that, wow, she kind of came back. She clapped back, right? I don't think that's a clap back. I found it to be petty. I found it to be not on merit. What I would have liked, because I honestly, sincerely want to support her. She's a black woman. She's not African American. She's black. I want to support her. She's a SOAR. She graduated from HBCU. I want to support her. But me wanting to be supportive of someone who is a member of my illustrious and adored sorority does not mean that I turn a blind eye to the facts. It does not mean that I am not honest about her record. Can people change? Can they evolve? Sometimes do you find yourself doing what needs to be done to keep your job? Yes. But say that, because black people all over this world know what that's like. And we have to find a happy medium. We have to walk that fine line. We have to wear that black tax and make sure that everyone doesn't group us together. They used to laugh at me when I worked for one of the health systems, because I would say, oh, Lord, 4 black people coming here, I got to go, because we can't have no. I said, because 2 is a problem and 3 is a mutiny, and 4 going to get us fired. And so if 4 people walked into the break room at any time, Angelo, I was standing there talking, I walked off. Because what I knew for sure is that they'd be like, all the black people are huddled up in the break room. And so I didn't want to be a part of that. That happens. That absolutely happens. But if that is the case, and you are Attorney General, and you say, listen, there were certain things that I did not like that I had to do to keep my job, and it was not the right time for me to make a move, then say that. Have the conversation. And what we are not hearing from Senator Harris is the conversation. She talks about that she increased enrollment through her truancy policies to arrest the parents, and when the parents couldn't pay the fines grew. It's not just a fine. You know as well as I do, the fines grow just like they grow when you get a traffic ticket. And those parents, many of them single mothers and some single fathers, could not pay it. But even if you're in a 2-parent home, if you can't pay it, you can't pay it. You can't get blood out of a turnip. And so that is deeply concerning to me. And I have friends, people I respect, that are supporting her. I had someone that I am close to put on her Facebook page, if you went to Howard University and you are not supporting Kamala Harris, then you're not really black. And let's argue about it. What? So black means you just follow blindly. You don't think, you don't have a brain. You don't pay attention. That's what being black means now. Black means being stupid. So now you're going to be exactly what they say you are, low information voters. Because the information is out there about her record. And it doesn't make me less black to challenge her on her record. Because we've already been disappointed. We haven't had anybody since Sherman was general under Lincoln and Lyndon B. Johnson since the 1960s to support any of our endeavors or our causes. What I saw from Kamala Harris, she was visibly shaken. And she didn't address her record. She says that 30% of the kids that they were concerned about, it increased in enrollment. But we don't have any stats or figures about how many actually graduated. We don't have any stats and figures about how many graduated and went on to secondary schools. We don't have any stats and figures about trade schools, getting a good job, keeping a good job. And most importantly, we don't have any stats and figures from that 30% that went back to school because their parents were being charged with fines and thrown in jail. How many actually stayed out of the criminal justice system? What programs were put in place? Because kids don't not go to school because they just don't want to go to school. We have a whole education economic foundation, the EEF, that says that. And guess what? These are white people out of Harvard and Yale and Pepperdine and Berkeley and these Ivy League schools that are telling us this. So we don't have to look far for stats and figures. And what we needed her to do was give us the stats and figures and not do a clap back. So I know that y'all feel some kind of way, but y'all got to wake up. We got to be smarter than this. So everybody's talking about Cory Booker. Cory Booker was the winner. Cory Booker was the winner of the night, so they say. And Cory Booker won based on a soundbite. I don't know if any of these debates have had a winner, okay, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't think we should be looking for a winner, just some information.
We should be, this is our opportunity to interview them. You know, I guess whoever gets the job is considered a winner, just like, I guess, a 9-to-5 interviewing process. So Cory Booker is the proverbial winner of the night. And here's the little exchange between he and Go Get 'em Joe Biden.
Calls for 500,000 charging stations around the country. So by 2030, we're all electric vehicles. My plan calls for making sure that we have $400 billion invested in technology.
Wait a minute, y'all. Now, hold on. That's the wrong clip. That's not the clip I want. Hold on. I'm going to get it straightened out for you. This is the clip I want. See, I have so much information. I'm just trying to give it all to you.
It's no secret that I inherited a police department with massive problems and decades-long challenges. But the head of the ACLU has already said, the head of the New Jersey ACLU, that I put forth national standard-setting accountability. Mr. Vice President, I didn't interrupt you. Please show me that respect, sir. We have a system right now that's broken. And if you want to compare records, and frankly, I'm shocked that you do, I am happy to do that. Because all of the problems that he is talking about that he created, I actually led the bill that got passed into law that reverses the damage that your bills that you were, frankly, to correct you, Mr. Vice President, you were bragging, calling it the Biden crime bill up till 2015.
Thank you, Senator. Vice President Biden.
Number one, the bill he talks about is a bill that in our administration we passed. We passed that bill that you added on to. That's the bill, in fact, you passed. And the fact of the matter is, secondly, there was nothing done for the entire 8 years he was mayor. There was nothing done to deal with the police department that was corrupt. Why did you announce in the first day a zero-tolerance policy of stop and frisk and hire Rudy Giuliani's guy in 2007 when I was trying to get rid of the crack cocaine?
Mr. Vice President, there's a saying in my community, you're dipping into the Kool-Aid and you don't even know the flavor. You need to come to the city of Newark and see the reforms that we put in place. The New Jersey head of the ACLU has said that I embraced reforms, not just in action, but in deed. Sir, you are trying to shift the view from what you created. There are people right now in prison for life for drug offenses because you stood up and used that tough on crime, phony rhetoric that got a lot of people elected, but destroyed communities like mine. This isn't about the past, sir. This is about the present right now. I believe in redemption.
You, Senator.
I'm happy you evolved.
I want to bring in
but
Secretary.
you offered no redemption to the people in prison right now.
I want to bring.
Okay, so that was Cory Booker, who was mayor of Newark, New Jersey before he became a senator. And what was funny about that exchange is that, what Cory's trying to show is that, he's a brother. What people don't realize about Cory is that he actually lives, his house is actually in the neighborhood, which, Donald Trump would have said would have been rat and rodent infested. Even though it's not Baltimore, it's Newark, but he groups all black people the same. Like all black people, if y'all didn't know, hey, black folks, listen up. All black people, according to the GOP's leader, live in rat and rodent-infested neighborhoods. And so what he was ultimately saying to Joe Biden, because you have to remember that we have placed on President Clinton's back, that he is responsible for locking up more black and brown people through this three strikes you out law, which disproportionately held higher standards for crack cocaine other than storing up your nose cocaine. So if you smoke it, you're a real criminal, but if it go up your nose, well, you just an addict. And so Joe Biden led the charge that ultimately Clinton signed. And if you recall, Hillary Clinton, who y'all wanted to be y'all's first president, female woman, lady, woohoo. People didn't come to vote this month. If you stayed at home, you voted for Trump. People did not vote for Hillary Clinton because they don't like Hillary Clinton. They didn't like Trump either, but they tired of picking their poison at the voting booth. That's why she didn't win. People remember that she said that children, black children, were these predators. Super predators. Thank you, Chris. Super predators. See, some black folks have long memories. Everybody is not quick to forget. Now, he was out on the Arsenio Hall show and playing the saxophone and talking about his mama was getting run through by men and left and beat up and things. And so y'all decided, well, that's a black story. Let's just make him be us. We're not going to ever get one. And that's what y'all did. But the truth is he was locking us up. Well, Go Get 'Em Joe led the charge on that. It was he that was talking about it's the Biden bill and patting himself on the back. And that is what Cory Booker is talking about. So when he's talking about Cory Booker and the corrupt police department, he's trying to pull information that would suggest that Cory allowed them to run rampant and do that. He attempted to clean it up. Let me tell you what I know about Cory Booker personally, because I actually like Cory Booker. I actually am very good friends with a young woman who graduated from Cornell Law School, was actually doing intellectual property law. And when the market went kaboom, because that's the technical term for what happened in the real estate market, it went kaboom. She actually found herself with less clients and less billable hours. So what she asked her firm to do was allow her to do the hours of pro bono work, because every large firm has certain hours that they dedicate to pro bono hours. So if you find yourself in a bit of a conundrum and you need a lawyer and you can't afford one, call the larger firms and start appealing to their sense of consciousness, because they have pro bono hours that they must use each year. The American Bar Association looks at what they do for the community as well as how they fatten their pockets. So just a little FYI, I love to drop y'all with a little knowledge. And so what she did was she signed up with Cory Booker to expunge records. And I've talked about this before. And so when you went to jail for a non-violent offense, they would clean your record so that you could get a job and so you could get housing. And that was something that he did as the mayor of New Jersey, because sometimes we can't come in and completely dismantle these systems and fix them, but we can find ways to implement programs so that we actually have an opportunity to fix some of the ills and right some of the wrongs while we're attempting to correct the root or the crux of the problem. And so that little exchange you heard was Joe trying to snap back, because y'all know Joe has an all-black team led by a black woman, because somebody told him about black girl magic, and he wanted a little bit of it. That's how they do. We went back to the plantation mentality. Well, anyway, so with that being said, this presidential debate, you had a hippie lady, Marianne Williamson. I like her. I like her a lot because, baby, she get preachy. She start throwing that hair. She start talking about love and happiness. You almost hear Al Green playing in the background, make you do right. And so she talks about a lot of that. But what she's saying is we have some systemic problems in the United States, and black folks deserve reparations. And I'm looking for someone who is going to, hear me well, cut a check. I'll decide how I want to spend my money. Because you know what? My ancestors, my foremothers and forefathers, they didn't have an opportunity to decide anything. So don't take decision making from me. And I'm looking for somebody to cut a check. I'm looking for real reparations, as so many other ethnicities have received. The Native American community has received they've received over $1 trillion over the years. Japanese Americans, everybody but us. So I don't want anybody telling me anything about they're going to build schools and hospitals. That's just kumbaya. I done had enough of that. I want a check. She's not going to make it. She don't have a snowball's chance in hell. If she win, pigs will literally be flying and we dead anyway. Because nobody is going to support a cause where she's actually telling the truth and trying to right wrong. So we have to pick the best person, and we have to pick the best person that's going to beat Trump. This is not about who y'all like. It's not about these sound bites. That was cute. I like Corey. The little, drinking the Kool-Aid. And you all up in it don't know the flavor. That's cute. Tulsi, she shook Kamala a little bit. But what Kamala should have said was, I'm not surprised that she attacked me in this way. Somebody get her on the phone. Can somebody get Kamala Soros? Can y'all get Kamala? Let me tell you how to win this race. Because I do win my races. Kamala Harris should have said, well, Tulsi is going to make those kind of statements and she's going to challenge me on my record, and that's the right thing to do. But what we should be talking about is the fact that David Duke and the Ku Klux Klan have endorsed her. See, that's a true statement. That is about the merit, because what Tulsi has said is she is about patriotism. And all of the buzzwords and the dog whistles that the GOP is using, she is using those same words. Now, does she mean them in the same way? That's arguable. But that is the kind of conversation we should be having, and we are not having that conversation. We are actually having, the same old, same old. I'm probably going to write Mickey Mouse in. Because until I see something for real. Because I am not giving them the privilege of my vote, because I have expectations, and they will be met or I will not do. This is Corey with the Black Tea Sip. We're going to take a quick break. I'll be right back at you. Go grab your cup. I'm going to fill it up. We're talking about relationships at the 12 o'clock hour. Y'all are out here failing in these streets. All right, we're talking about the presidential debate, and Chris and I were having a very spirited debate, and he said I was talking. So, the real deal is why he couldn't get in. No, he couldn't stop this sip. But he had some valid points about what he's looking for as a voter.
Oh yeah, so I'm not looking for a win. I'm just looking for information. But I mean, and that's what we all should be looking for. Like I was telling Cora, like when this first started, I was on the Biden train. I'm not saying I jumped off, but other people are piquing my interest as
Who's
they should.
piquing your interest?
I like Cory Booker. I like Gabbard, but I know she's not gonna win.
What do you like about Gabbard? Tulsi Gabbard.
I just like people with fresh ideas. You know what I'm saying? Like who don't come off as career politicians. Who she's military. You know what I'm saying? People who've been in the battlefields.
So you want somebody who's gonna push the button, who's actually served before.
Yeah, I'm looking for progressive ideas.
Okay. So but you're not
who's-
on Marianne Williamson. She progressive.
Like you get like
She just kumbaya too. She a hippie.
right. Yeah, you can't be too like. Okay, I like O'Rourke, right?
Oh, you like
Hometown
Beto.
boy. But like, I think he may be, too far left to win. Even though I like.
Well, let me
his
tell you what the
ideas.
problem is with Beto. Beto came here. He did very well. But what nobody's talking about with Beto O'Rourke is that he actually lost his own district in El Paso. There was a young woman named Sema. Oh God, I need it. My researcher, Courtney Kitchen, is my intern and my researcher. She needs to be here. SEMA is running for the seat that she's running for Ted Cruz seat. And she ran against Beto for the Democratic primary, and she lost. But she is an advocate, and she's been doing this a long time. She really won. He won outside of that area. That's what Beto run. But at home, Beto lost. He got, well, the technical term is he got his ass kicked at home. That's the technical term. And so because of that, people are saying, "Oh, Beto. Beto is not going to get it done." And we like to like Beto. He's got a good story. I was there at Good Street Baptist Church when he came, and actually, to be honest with you, he was all very speechy and churchy. Yeah. And let me pander to these black folks. And I don't think he's I don't want to suggest that he is disingenuous. But on the campaign trail, and what I can tell you is a backstory is. He contacted a friend of mine who used to work on the Hill, and they're friends, and he was looking for her. And she said, I'm not going to come to your camp, but I'll work as a consultant. She and I talked about it. And so Lorraine Billable, who is waiting for Greg Abbott as our governor to call a special election because the seat for the district, for House district, so you can be a state representative to do state work as what would be considered your local congressperson, if you will. That seat has been vacated by our now mayor, Eric Johnson. And so Greg Abbott has not called for a special election. That race would actually not take place until 2021. Because that's the next time for the election and nothing has been done. But she is hoping to run for that seat. She actually worked for the camp. And many people were kind of frustrated because they came with their El Paso ideas or their South Texas ideas to Dallas and trying to win that way. And it didn't work. He didn't win. He won Fort Worth. He didn't win Dallas. And because of that, I think he saw such a huge showing in the state of Texas that he thought he could take it nationally because he did get a lot of money. He had a very energetic race, but I don't think that's going to get it done. I have not heard Beto say anything about reparations. Have you?
So, no, not really. But what do you think is going to get it done?
Boom. He just blew up. He exploded. Well, I think what's going to take to get it done is the fact that we have someone who's middle, who's proven, and who can answer questions. One of the things that people liked about Obama is he didn't ever shy away from the tough questions. When Jeremiah Wright became the thing and he was going to lose, it looked like he was going to lose because of the whole Jeremiah Wright thing, he said no. I'm not going to say the things they're telling me to say about this man because I know this man. I stand behind this man, and he is my friend. And I gained so much respect for him because that takes a lot of integrity. But more than that, you have to be willing to draw a line in the sand And no matter what happens, you will not cross that line. I'm not sure I've seen anybody on this Democratic stage that will do that. And that is what I think it takes to win. Because let me tell you something. Donald Trump, baby, if you can't fight fire with fire, then you don't need to be in here. And we're too nice. Democrats, we are too nice. We're very jellyfishy. We are too nice, and we do not do and say the things that need to be done and the things that need to be said.
But you know that's why people like Donald Trump, because he drew a line in the sand, and he just sticks by it and says what he wants to say, does what he want to do. Yeah, and so there are people who like that. I don't, because
Well, you don't like the fact that he's a liar. You know, we've got two clapbacks for the clapback corner. Donald Trump attacked Al Sharpton, and he said, he basically said that Al Sharpton was a con man, and that he used to be friends with Al Sharpton, and they got along well. But he was alluding to the fact that he knows that he's disingenuous. That's not completely false.
Right.
But the
saying,
clapback was from Al Sharpton. Well, I am a troublemaker. I'm a troublemaker for the GOP, and if I was a con man, you would have hired me for your administration, for your cabinet, which I thought was hilarious. And so I think that's an honorable mention. I think the real clapback is they asked Bernie Sanders what was different between he and Donald Trump. He said Donald Trump is a pathological liar, and I tell the truth. The clapback award goes to Bernie Sanders. I love a good clapback. I live for it, but I think we're too focused on clapbacks. What were you gonna say, Chris?
I can't remember that.
Oh, he can't. He's new to the radio, y'all. He can't keep all his thoughts and stuff together. So, with that being said, y'all, I think that we need to be very careful about what it is that we're hoping, our expectations. And I think that we need to, you like who you like. I'm certainly not telling you who to like. I'm not telling you who to vote for. But I'm saying really look beyond the surface. Bush got in office because they said he looked like somebody they wanted to have a beer with. He's rich. Why didn't you want champagne? This is Coy with the Black Tea Sip. I'm going to take a quick break. If you're on Facebook and you can't hear, go over to YouTube, Black Tea Sip with Coy. You can log in, and the people there can hear. They can even hear the stuff that we're talking about during the breaks. You're muted because, Facebook keeps trying to stop this sip. Hey, Corey Love.
Hey, catch the Review of Joy and Company every Monday in the Great Bowl stream from 7 to 9 p.m. You'll be
Dallas-Fort Worth's finest, best of the best. Nothing but that dirty. You know what I'm saying? Get 'em.
We gon' make that money, homie, but I pray you don't run up on me. I'm only gon' tell you this once. I'm running this thing tight, the one and only. Blowing on them swishes sweet. Pulling up in the Grand Prix with Bunton and Pleasant Grove, Dixon Circle, and Highland Hills with me. I done been to California, I done been to Detroit. I done hung in the hood with a whole lot of killers in Project D4. Dallas is right on time. Who me continue to grind, take it back to the ghetto and teach them young hustlers to use their mind. Let me do it big, people stare when I drive through, but I'm steady blowing switches, see the cops, I'm already let it go. If I went drinking, bro, I'd probably advise you to swallow your pride, cause your boy is a diamond. We in the South lane, we ain't running. We don't tuck our chains in, dog, when Depot coming. You say you pimpin' and control your woman. For big Remy, get on your women, get all the song. Money, car, crib, hoes, fine women. I join some Hennessy, we welcome all of y'all to the industry. From the north to the east, west, the south, where we be. Making history, we welcome all of y'all to the industry. Money, car, crib, hoes, fine women. I join some Hennessy, we welcome all of y'all to the industry. From the north to the east, west, the south, where we be. Making history, we welcome all of y'all to the industry. Ain't nothing but some pimpin' round here. No time for games with your man. Let's get this one thing clear. We taking Texas across the land, all according to plan. We going to war, you cross this line in the sand. You understand? Rubber band, killer cancer, I hustle like Dutter Man. When the streets with straight muscle from ballroom to gutter man. See boss in the cutter man, split the body from soul. The new Microsoft in the industry, I'm taking control.
Whoa. D-A-double-L-A, cooking better, cooking better, cock it back. Get your hands up, this is sticker. Get them bricks up, whoa. Let it feel another jack. Gang green rack pack. Hey, you the stepping crew, the all black and all black. Welcome to the train track, the graveyard and chain backs. A city where you will get shot. Talking weed on the map, talking like you holding something. Y'all ain't really holding nothing. None of y'all ain't making moves. Some of y'all gon' make the news.
Money, car, crib, hoes, fine women. I join some Hennessy, we welcome all of y'all to the industry. From the north to the east, west, the south, where we be. Making history, we welcome all of y'all to the industry. Money, car, crib, hoes, fine women. I join some Hennessy, we welcome all of y'all to the industry. From the north to the east, west, the south, where we be. Making history, we welcome all of y'all to the industry.
Standing about 5'10", oh hell, y'all know the rest. With carrots like that crazy rabbit hanging below my chest. 10 my whistle, round 10 in my initial, plus another 20 equals the caliber of my pistol and the small of my bag. Y'all got clicks with the yak. If you don't want a box, then a 4-5 Glock gon' teach you cross-dressers how to act. Now get your body, then do it. I don't give a damn, shop and screw it. Now tell me, ain't Coach Cognac one of the best you ever heard do it?
It's that fat guy, Big Ben once again. Murking my competition when I pimp this pen. But scoring the win, can't lose, just ain't in me. Stay true, pay dues, ever since the beginning. Black, fat, and gifted with no college degree. It's that fat fly dude, y'all heard about me. I be a heavyweight, the rest of y'all can't relate. Understand and get it straight, sweet Bennett, here to stay. Money, car, crib, hoes, fine women. I join some Hennessy, we welcome all of y'all to the industry. From the north to the east, west, the south, where we be. Making history, we welcome all of y'all to the industry. Money, car, crib, hoes, fine women. I join some Hennessy, we welcome all of y'all to the industry. From the north to the east, west, the south, where we be. Making history, we welcome all of y'all to the industry. Money, car, crib, hoes.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world, and that's our job.
Tell me why, tell me why, tell me why. Why can't we live together? Tell me why, tell me why. Why can't we live together? Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
Hello, all you melanated beauties, sun-kissed by God's lips. This is Coy with your black tea sip. I'm sipping power to pour you the truth. Go grab your cup. Let's fill it up.
All right, and I'm back with this sip. This is Coy with the black tea sip, and today I'm joined by my friend, sometimes my partner in good things. I'm not going to say crime. Chris Patrick. And I told y'all at the 12 o'clock hour we were going to talk about relationships because a lot of y'all are failing in these streets. But let me just get this out because I did not give the Dildo of the Day award purposefully because I wanted you to hear all that has happened. I wanted you to hear Lindsey Graham. You heard Lindsey Graham say anyone would be better for a GOP candidate other than Trump. And so I wanted to get to the fact that Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., you know, old folks say the King, niece, she is actually defending Donald Trump, and she said she enjoyed praying with him and that she talked about unemployment being down, and the unemployment rate is supposedly, and I'm using that purposefully, 3.7. But what we know is our community is severely impacted, as well as the Hispanic community, and many people who are employed are underemployed. But
that's the key right there.
It is key, and people don't realize that because if you're underemployed, I know someone who is a PhD candidate who is still working in the classroom because where she lives, there is not an opportunity for her to progress, and she had already started paying the money, and she's just going to go ahead and complete it other than stopping, and that's certainly notable and admirable. But she's going to have to leave the state in which she loves to be able to seek other opportunities. So I think that it's important for us to talk about these very realistically when we start talking about the unemployment rate, when you start talking about what people are doing and what they're not doing, and people start giving themselves accolades and pats on the back. I think we need to be honest about what's going on because 3.7 unemployment rate, that's fine. But you know how they denote unemployment? Whether or not you're getting an unemployment check. Mm-hmm. So if you've, timed out for the check and you don't have a job, then you're not counted in that 3.7.
Or you're not making a livable wage.
A livable wage. Many people are living in poverty, but they call it the working poverty. Working poverty is what they call it. So the working impoverished is what I should say. And so we need to be really honest about that. One more thing. People who are affluent, listen to this. This is something we need to get involved in. They are giving up custody and guardianship of their children, giving them to other people who have less income so that children can qualify for Pell Grants and other free money and scholarships to go to college. Angelo's looking at me like he could kill someone right now. So you need to be aware that these things are happening in the world when people, and I'm not talking about Republicans or Democrats, just people start patting themselves on the back. All right. Now, y'all just heard The Industry. That was the first album that I produced. It was Local Talent. Some people say some things and it gets back to me and I don't say nothing, baby. I can't prove a receipt. So here you go. Here's the receipt for it. The Industry. It's selling in China and Korea. I emailed them and said, baby, I got a whole box of them. Do y'all want it? So that you just heard The Industry featuring Uptight, Big Remy, Steve Austin, Fatty Daddy, Coach Cognac, and Big Ben. That was a 2004 album. Of course, I would play something that was a lot more y'all probably say militant, but that was the time. It was good music. Ozone was on the guitar, and the last thing that you heard is when he plugged in, we said, what you doing? And he said, I'm about to lay my verse. And so that was his instrumental. So look here, y'all need not come for me unless I send for you, because anything I say, I backs all the way up. I have receipts. That was The Industry with Southpaw Music. Me and my ex did that. Zon, so very talented guy.
Shout out, Zon.
Who can who really feels and hears music, and my oldest son has rightfully his namesake actually inherited that. So all right, relationships. That's why I got Chris here. He's been very quiet. I'm surprised though, he usually has a lot to say. He's also my protest buddy. Even when I wanted to leave one time, he was like, come on, wouldn't let me leave. He's my protest buddy, fist in the earth. They took a picture of me, they should have gotten him. He also makes sure I'm safe. Are you going? Are you going to be out there? And then he makes sure I'm safe. So when y'all are seeing me and you calling me Sister Soldier, this is Brother Soldier, my brother, who y'all have said that I think like a man. But I don't think I think like a man. I think reasonably, Angelo. I think I'm very smart in the way I think, and I don't hold people to standards that they can't possibly meet. And so I have a brother here because I think that he's going to give you a difference of opinion. Recently, in the last couple of days on Black Twitter, never disappoints. Black Twitter never disappoints. The sisters on Black Twitter really should have been hired by the Judiciary Committee, and Elijah Cummings should reach out to some of Black Twitter's sisters and let them do some investigation, and we could have Trump impeached and Pelosi wouldn't know nothing but shrug her shoulders, and she could just say it's black girl magic, because Twitter does not play. And so there was a brother on there, took a picture with a sister. Now, look here. I'm not into the tattoos and things, but I'm certainly not going to disparage somebody who is. But brothers, if you have tattoos, put on a shirt. Because she put a big smiley face over his face, but the tattoos are like fingerprints. You don't have to see your face if you know him. So anyway, this chick did that, and then his girl's like, well, I want to know when this picture was taken because that's my man.
He said it was a long time ago, right?
She said it was a long time ago, but she just loves that kind of physique. He was built, and she said she loves that kind of physique, and it just does something to her. She's down on her knees for real. I thought that was inappropriate. What are you on your knees doing? Certainly not praying. Hey. Maybe she was. Maybe she was praying. Maybe she was praying for to be able to say that without any clapback. Because when it all went down, receipts were given, and the girl said, well, I'm with him now in the Bahamas. And then another receipt came out, and the girl sent a cash app. And so this is what I wanted to say. Y'all need to stop doing that. And then they said that she wasn't mad enough, because I'm like, well, maybe she's not going to show the girl outrage. And maybe she's intelligent enough to know that, everybody has a role to play. I mean, in the court, the king, he had his gesture that made him laugh. And then he had the people that were on his council. Everybody has a role to play. And maybe the girl who said, that's my man, maybe that's his travel buddy. He goes abroad with her. And the other girl is his Cash App buddy. Because this is my philosophy, Chris. I think that in order to have one whole complete man for most women, then they need 5 men. They need Mr. Generosity. Maybe that's the Cash App dude. And he doesn't have a lot of time, but when he comes around, he, gives money and he pays for things. That's what he does. That's what he's needed for. And then you have your snuggle buddy. That's Netflix and pizza. It's just, we won't do nothing storming outside. You just need somebody to keep your feet warm, but then you just call him. And then you have a Mr. Fix-It. And Mr. Fix-It can fix stuff, or he pays for people to fix stuff. And you got your fence that needs to be repaired. We come over there, yeah, baby, boom, 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 with the hammer. And he's sweating and he's glistening, and the skin. And that's what Mr. Fix-It does. And then when he can't fix it, he pays somebody, because he always knows somebody who can fix it. And then you have Mr. Showtime, honey. Mr. Showtime loves to get you dressed up and take you out and spin you all around. And every now and then you take a trip with him. And then you have a floater. When those other men are not available, he can just slide in and take care of whatever you need to take care of. And so it takes 5. Now, some people are blessed to not need all 5, because there are some brothers out there that can be the main event. And they have 3 or sometimes 4 of the qualities that I just said. And then you have a backup dancer and you have a hype man. You know how the hype man comes out? And he gets everything all ready and blah, blah, blah. Well, usually he don't even live in town, but that's just the dude you talk to every now and then. And he just tell you how cute you are and whatever. And but you don't really want to be bothered with him. But he's good conversation, and you bounce things off of him. And sometimes your hype man, he can tell you about women in his life. You can tell him about men in your life. And you can collaborate on how you need to move. He gets a female perspective. You get a male's perspective. That does happen sometimes. And so then that's your hype man, and then you have your backup dancer. When the main man is not available, you still have somebody, because you have to keep all of this together. And so I think that sometimes you just need to know your role. And so Black Twitter was over here, and they were coming for him, and they were doing all kinds of things for him. And child, it was a lot. I mean, coming off the presidential debates, I just almost couldn't handle Black Twitter. It was so much to digest. And I think that y'all are failing in these streets, because you do not know how to successfully date. And so your relationships fail, usually within 2 weeks, because you don't know what you're doing. So I have a man here to help you. Go ahead, Chris. Tell the people what they want to hear.
So we're going to talk about the brother. So I think the biggest thing for me, and I had to learn this as I got a little older, you just got to be honest. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're dating multiple women, let them know. It's their choice whether they choose to still engage or not, but give them that choice.
And what would that choice be? How does that conversation go? Because Steve Harvey would tell you, no, don't listen to that. Don't do that. Steve Harvey got y'all up here up in these streets.
Yeah, I mean, your conversation just has to be candid, and I know a lot of dudes don't want to have that conversation simply because they scared she's gonna take the off the table when they tell them that we're dating multiple people. But it keeps the confusion down. So I was with this girl last night, and so her friends see me out the next. This hypothetical because I'm married.
Yeah, because I was like thinking to myself, child, what because people do come on this show, Angelo, and put all their business out, and I was so confused. I was like, what's happening?
I talk in third person a lot. So
no, you talking in you no, you said you.
But what
let's use some other pronouns.
Okay.
They, them.
So
he.
Hypothetically, a guy like is with this girl one night. Okay, and so then the next night he's out with another woman, and so maybe the girl sees him or her friends see him, and she might want to show her behind if he's not honest. But had he let her know that, hey, you ain't the only show in town,
is that what he needs to say? He needs to tell the woman, you're not the only show in town?
Well, I mean, not in those terms, but like in so.
Yeah, because you got to help these people, because somebody is listening to this show, and they are going to call this woman tonight and tell this woman, look here, baby, you ain't the only show in town. Chris Patrick on the Black Tea Sip told me this how it go, and lose his whole little snuggle buddy.
It's my child calling.
So with that being said, here's what you need to do. You have a conversation at the beginning. So as you well know, I am divorced. I was separated for 2 years, and then like 2.5 years, almost 3, I got divorced, like signed on the paper. And some people say, oh no, you don't date until it's signed. Well, you do you and I do me. Because my divorce was ordained in heaven, honey. I mean, just like marriage is ordained in heaven, so are some divorces. And so I was already off the hook in heaven. So I waiting on the judge. That was not nothing for y'all to worry about. And so I did date prior to being divorced. And I would just simply tell guys, look here, you know.
When you're done, you're done.
When you're done, you're done. And I had mentally checked out, and he was somewhere else doing whatever he was doing. And so we were co-parenting, and that's that. But I would just tell guys, now look here, baby, I don't know what it is you're trying to accomplish, but I already got behind the white picket fence with the 2.5 kids and a dog, and I'm not interested in doing that. Now, if you want to go out and hang out every now and then and have a little fun, I'm your girl. But if you're looking for something more serious, then I'm probably not the person you want to talk to. And the little girl over there in the pink dress, she's kind of cute. And that is how I kept it 100, because I then let them know from the beginning, I am not looking for anything serious. I am not looking to completely settle down. And that was my little coyism, a little cute way of saying it. And guess what? Nobody ever said, well, no, I'm going to move around. Because guys, like girls, do think that they can change a person. And relationships have to grow organically. There's a big thing now, I believe it's relatively new, that talks about having commitment conversations. And so then you become exclusive. And that very well may work for people. I'm certainly not crapping on it. But I don't know if a commitment actually commences from a conversation. Let me say that again for the people in the cheap seats. I don't know if a commitment commences from a conversation. Because usually you get to exclusivity because people just start to fade away.
Right. And so I think for dudes, like, dudes don't ever go into the dating situation looking for a relationship. It just kind of
Say it again. Somebody need to hear that, baby.
So, and that, because, man,
Say it again.
I love all my boys, but, like, and we talk, right? And so I got one right now. He's single, so he back in these streets, right? And so he meets all these ladies, and that's his number one complaint. They all looking for a relationship. He just want to have a good time.
Let me tell you what they're looking for.
What they're looking for.
They're dating to marry.
Right.
What the hell is that?
Yeah.
Y'all are out here failing in these streets because you're telling people, well, I'm dating to marry. Wait, what? Okay, so you meet a guy and he says he's divorced. Okay. He's not looking to get married again. A man is like a cab, ladies and gentlemen. He rides around all this time with his light off. He turns his light on. Whoever gets in the cab, she's the one.
Right.
You got to know to recognize when the light is on and when the light is off. Remember, it takes 5. And every now and then you look up on a brother got 3 of those, 4 of those cabs. You see, I didn't say all 5. And then he becomes the main event. But you still get your back up there saying the hype.
So this is another issue though, because can I? Okay.
Go ahead. This is a safe space, honey.
Most women are treated like shit, so to speak, in a lot of relationships
Why
or
do you
dealing with
think
dudes.
that is?
Some dudes just don't know how to treat women, and so what happens when
But
you?
why don't women know how to look at those men and know that
'Cause-
that's the kind of dude that
'cause
he
you know
is?
what? Bad role models, like not seeing it growing up. You know what I'm saying? They got some stuff they got to deal with.
And here's the real deal. You have to love yourself enough to say no and to say goodbye, male or female, man or woman. You have to love yourself enough to know I'm better than that. I said that a few weeks back when I was talking about voters. You ought to have an expectation, and when that expectation is not met, then you ought to have something that is done. There ought to be some kind of consequence, some recourse that you say, okay, well, this is not going the way I want to. But the main problem, Chris, is people do not know how to effectively communicate.
Right. So, so back to and when females get with guys who,
We should say women, not female.
I'm sorry. So women who, okay. So when women get with guys who actually know how to treat a woman, like they're instantly like, oh, this the man I'm finna marry. So let me get him into this relationship. And again, he's still just having a good time. He enjoys your company.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, and like every woman is treated the same, whatever they socioeconomic, whatever their occupation is. Like this is how you treat a woman, regardless of.
Because,
whatever you're looking for.
well, here's the thing. My dad told me when I was very young, when a man cares about a woman, he sees about her.
Correct.
Now, there are different ways that men see about the woman. I had a very different, someone I have great respect for. She was saying she was used to being independent, being on her own, and she said that she needed her fence done. And so he is capable of building a house from the ground up. And he said, okay, I'll come by there and do it. And she was kind of put off by that. And her idea of what he should be doing was not that, because it was different. It was unusual to her. But that's his love language. That's his way of seeing about her. Some men they want to take care of you financially. Some men just need to be the person that you call. Some men want to be your plus one. Some men want to be all of that. And they're not necessarily looking to jump the broom, but they know these are the things that they do for a woman that they care about. I don't think that we effectively read the signals and the signs, and we don't date effectively. We have so many black women that have never been married. And so I do a lot of joking on this show, and I tease a lot, and we do talk about all kinds of things. But I really want to be able to help some people date.
I'm gonna say this right here, and this is a funny story. So I think we had this conversation before about, okay, so when I say like late 20s, early 30s or whatever. So when you meet a female, she has no children, she got a career, she has her own thing going on. That's like, bing, that's a plus. Like she's a catch, right?
Right. That's right.
As we get older, so take that same woman, she's mid to late 40s. Same situation, no kids, good job, got her stuff going on. Like it's negative now. Because you as a man, you're like, dang, what's wrong with her?
Angry black woman?
Right. And so my homeboy,
Y'all gonna get me, I know.
My homeboy had to tell his sister, he was like, ain't nothing wrong with you. You just older now. And so those things that worked for you back then don't work now, because men look at it like nobody wifed her, nobody want to have kids with her. Like something got to be wrong with it. And it could not be anything wrong with her, but that's how we look.
But it's true. I have a very dear friend from college, and she and I were having a conversation. I was newly separated. And she and I were talking, and she said, and I said, I'm trying to get back out there, but, I'm really trying to be cool. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm not trying to get hurt. I want to be open and honest. And I said, but it's like these dudes, they just automatically trying to handcuff me and wife me. I ain't trying to do that. That's not what your girl was trying to do.
That's that dude mentality.
And so we know each other a long time. Don't listen to him though. And she looked at me squarely in the face, and I mean, this is my girl. And she opened my eyes to exactly what you're saying. She said, yes, they're going to want to do that with you. Me, on the other hand, I'm damaged goods. I've never been married, and I don't have any children. I am considered damaged goods. This girl is attractive, still in shape. She dances on that semi-pro circuit, winning money. So she's in good shape. She loves to have fun. She travels. She's, in her profession, owns her own house, but she's never been married. And so it to me, it begs the question, why? Because this is a competent, educated, loving black woman who's, her father's in her life. She's got a brother she's close to, her mother. So all of the things that we want to check off and tell people that they're messed up. Patrick Stewart talking about PTSD. Oh, excuse me, PTDD, post-traumatic dating disorder. Y'all, I love when I get commentary. I love that. And so he says they have PTDD, post-traumatic dating disorder. I love it. But I think there is something to that because Chris and I are both in those groups. Build a sister up and build a brother up. And I like the groups. I really do. But there are some damaged people, and we call them the walking wounded. And they take that into relationship. They take these preconceived notions that someone is going to hurt you, so you have to get them first. And that's a problem. I have friends that only date a guy. They like him. Oh, they met this guy. They're such a great guy. And then they go out a few times, and in 2 weeks, it's over, Angelo. 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, you don't know him. He doesn't know you. Now, I'm not saying stay in nothing that is going sideways on you. I don't want you sitting there like the chicken at the restaurant talking about, well, that went sideways fast. I want you to be honest. And look, when you meet a guy, ladies, why did you stop talking to everybody else within the first 5 days? You need 5. I went over 'em, Mr. Showtime, Mr. Fix-It, Mr. Generosity, Snuggle Buddy, and a floater. And if he has 3 or 4 of those characters, then he's the main event, but you still keep a hype man and a backup dancer.
Like you said, they tend to weed themselves out. You know what I'm saying?
They do.
Like dating, like until you get to the point where it's exclusive.
And so how do you get to the exclusive thing? Because that's been a hot topic. Deep sigh.
I just think, so I just go back for me. Like, okay, so when you start dating, okay, so you're dating multiple women because you're dating.
And the women should be dating multiple men, but you're dating. We're not talking about sleeping with. We're saying dating.
And so then you started realizing that, okay, I enjoyed this one more than I enjoyed that one. This one has this. And so, yeah, you kind of weed them out. You know what I'm saying? Like you check, you check.
You check. So men check boxes too, ladies.
And then you find yourself only wanting to be with this one.
Right.
And so once you get to that point, hey, that's when you make that commitment. Like that's when you
so
decide, okay,
you're saying that it's not necessarily, because let me tell you what I have in my mind. And I know some of my girlfriends are like, oh, coy. But this is what I have in my mind. I have in my mind, you ready, he's coming over. No, I don't know how I go down, dinner and, drink. And because, see, we plan these things out in our minds.
That's our problem.
I'm going to say this. He's probably going to say that. I'm going to say that. He's probably going to say this. And so what you're doing is just taking a square peg trying to put it in a round hole. That is not how it works. But in my mind, I hear, so, are you seeing anyone else? Well, he's automatically like, oh, And so he starts to become very, he puts a wall up, because he's like, oh, my God, where is this going? Where is this going? Where is it going? Because even if he's not seeing anyone else, he doesn't want to be forced into saying something that he doesn't want to say. And so the conversation then either doesn't go the way you want to, or he says something that he may not mean in his heart, or he says something that he means at the time, but it doesn't mean that it's forever. It doesn't mean that what he said on Tuesday, July 26th, that he's going to want to keep that up, because those things happen organically.
Right. And again, you got to go back to what I said initially. When dudes don't go into dating situations looking for a relationship, it organically happens through basically trial and
time.
Yeah.
Time spent. And, there's nothing wrong with ladies, with you telling them what it is you want. But don't do it the Steve Harvey way. I'm telling you, Steve Harvey is jacking y'all up out here. Because Steve Harvey got y'all telling people, no, 90 days, do this, 120 days, do that, 180, do. Look, and somebody said it, Don Scott said, there is no, one shoe fits all in relationships. And here's the thing. If you like him, you can gauge what tomorrow is going to be like if you decide to be intimate with that person, because you should know. But you certainly, I don't think you put somebody on a time schedule. And let me tell you something, ladies. I'm not saying go out here and give your little cookies away. Everybody shouldn't have their hand in your cookie jar. But I will tell you that putting him on a time schedule like that is annoying.
But that's not organic either. You know
No, it's not.
Because you have set in your mind, we're not going to do whatever until this time frame has passed. So that dude realizes that, and so he's going to, you go from...
He's going to what? What is this for the people on the radio who are not watching?
Yeah, he's going to leave. But the thing about it is, you go from the guy wanting to be with you to the guy just wanting to bang you, basically.
Or maybe
so
he
to
just
speak.
wants to knock that off his
Yeah, that's
list.
it. Like-
And every man is not coming into a relationship. And I think my little sister Hillary said, women value what men think far too much. I value what makes me feel whole and good. And that's true. You ought to be living in your space, not necessarily worried about what his expectations are and checking off all of those boxes. You ought to make sure you're checking off yours, but not in a way that you're not concerned about how he feels. Because I'm going to say something, and these men about to get mad at me, but I'm just going to go on and get it out here. Because I do believe we out here failing in these streets, melanated people, in the dating realm. Men are very sensitive. They really do get their feelings hurt very easily. They are extremely fragile.
They coming for you now.
Well, y'all come on, because I ain't never been scared. And so they're fragile. I have 4 brothers. My father and I are very close. They are sensitive. I have 2 little boys. They are sensitive. I was married and now divorced. And I ain't having problems in these streets. I'm telling you, these men are sensitive. And I'm not saying sensitive like they crying like John Bear did with the when he was in the Senate, he cried all the time. I'm not talking about that kind of crying. What I am talking about is that we need to stop thinking that every man is out here to get us, that every man is out here just to put another notch on his belt. That is not the case. They want to be in successful relationships too. Now, are all men like that? No. You have some buttholes that are men just like you do women. I mean, there's some trash humans out here that are wearing skirts, to be completely honest. And all men, Snoop told us from the beginning, he told us, and some of you itches is women too, and he was talking about the dudes. So, you know, we need to stop thinking that every man is trying to get us and jumping on every word that he says. And every time he makes a statement, I know what he meant by that. And let me tell you something else. Stop talking to your homegirl who ain't dated nobody since junior high school. Because guess what? She's not happy when you're happy. My mother talks about her friend who said that she had a very good friend and she was dating a guy and everything was going well and they dated for a couple of years and then it fizzled out and they broke up. And the woman literally told her, I'm so glad y'all broke up because I was starting to get jealous. What? Right. But that's the person she's confiding into. So guess what she's doing? She's giving you some bad information. She is not. See, sometimes people are happy for you and sad for themselves. And some people are just not happy for you. And so you need to stop deciding that every man is out here to get you in every. Now, there's some idiots out there. We run into them all the time in these groups. They have big chips on their shoulder because they too have been hurt. And I'm not telling you to go out here and Humpty Dumpty these dudes. Some of them just can't be put back together again. But you have to treat, this man don't have nothing to do with the last man you dated. And this woman is not going to step out on you because the last woman you did. And some men are out here, and that's what they like. They actually are gluttons. They like to be punished in a way. So, I mean, it's true. So you need to be able to sift through that, weed through that, and know the difference. But every dude is not out to get you. And y'all need to stop thinking like that. And you know what? Because he don't answer his phone don't mean he with another woman. But so what if he is? You ought to every now and then be out with another man. Why are you out here acting like you a wife when you don't even know if there are any vacancies? You out here putting in applications and the job ain't even open. There's nothing to fulfill. Get out here and have some fun.
Yeah, that again, like dating is so, like, people don't understand what it means to date.
No,
You know
they
what I'm
don't.
saying? And so dating exclusively is dating one person. But when you're dating multiple people, trying to weed through and figure out what it is or who it is that you want to settle down with.
Here's the thing. When we start talking about dating, what we're really talking about is getting to know someone. Why are you only dating one person if you're trying to get to know them? How do you know that this is the person that's right for you if you don't have anything to compare it to? I don't understand that. I know a girl who has been dating, she dated the same guy since she was 15. They ultimately got married, had 3 kids. She and I talk about this all the time, so she's not going to be offended, because what I'll never do is betray a confidence. But I'm not going to call her name because I didn't give her any heads up, okay? And this woman is attractive, banging body, educated, makes good money, takes care of kids, and wants to be in a relationship. But this is the only man she's ever been with, and she's almost 40. When he was telling her what he wants to hear, because of course he knows how to push her buttons, because here's the other thing, he groomed her. He's been with her since she was 15. He has groomed her to do all the things that he likes, all the things that he enjoys. So she really doesn't have anything to compare it to. Now, with that being said, when he was telling her what he wanted that he wanted her back and this, that, and that, she was talking to 2 other guys. I guess they had a conversation that they weren't going to see anybody else. And this is her ex-husband at this time. So she tells the other 2 guys via text that she's not going to talk to them anymore. She's going back to her ex-husband. She screenshots it and sends it to the dude. I said, have you completely lost your mind? She was so baffled as to what I was talking about. And I said, well, did he do the same for you? And she looked dumbfounded and said no. No. Because he's not going to do the same. Because men understand what it's like to date. And guess what? Because he's dating more than one person, he's not a dog. But you ought to get you a little pool in you, if that's the case. Because you should not be out here you meet this guy on Friday. You go out with him on Saturday. You like him. You don't hear from him for 3 or 4 days. You heartbroken. Why? It was just 2 or 3. I mean, why does he have to call you every day? We have got to stop.
That's because y'all looking to marry.
Say it again. They can't hear you.
That's because y'all looking to marry.
Dating to marry. I have a friend who literally would tell guys when she would meet them, I guess they were dating. She would say, here are her words. I cannot make this up. The next man I sleep with is going to be my man. Ooh. I don't think she's had sex in 8 months. Because literally what is being said in that statement, now this is not what she meant. She just meant I'm not out here just giving my cookie away. That's what she meant. But literally what is being said in that sentence, because here it is, the message received is the message sent. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter what you meant. Mens rea, lives in the head. It's a legal term. So what she said was, if you and I hook up and I give you my cookie, I expect you not to see anybody else, talk to anybody else, and be with anybody else forever.
Why?
Because that is her idea. Now she's another one that has been groomed, met her high school sweetheart, got married, been married forever, had babies, and now they're divorced, and she's trying to date again. Mind you, he is remarried within 2 years.
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. Here's where I'm going with this. Why do women feel that if they give this guy the cookie, they're exclusive?
Because it's all about respect. So we have developed in our minds that respect is only given when the person does exactly what you want them to do. That is respectability. That is the notion that is what respect is. My dad has taught me something, and it stayed with me. He said people who say they won't be disrespected don't respect anybody. And the meaning that they're so busy trying to maintain, hone, and complete that respect that they're often disrespectful in their process. And so it is believed that if we share this intimate moment, then you shouldn't want to be anybody else because I've given you all that I have. I think it's precious. I don't think it's all that you have.
And that's the problem. That's all that there are a lot of women who feel that once you got that, you got everything they had to offer.
That's right.
And I don't know where they learned that at, but they need to unlearn it.
Well, I don't think that you ought to be out here dropping it low and spreading it wide. I mean, the high five is real. You know, you can still get HIV. Don't let them commercials fool y'all.
But I'm saying, I'm going to give you an example. Like I had one of our good friends. He dated this woman, and he's a good dude, right? But she didn't want to go there, right? Because she wanted to do everything else, but she didn't want to go there. So he was like, I'm not gonna play these games with you. He went on about her business. Like once he got involved with somebody else, here she come calling. Because you.
Well, most people don't want anything until something. Okay, here's the thing: nobody wants somebody that no one else wants. Okay, that's a fact. But the other thing is, people usually their attentions are heightened when they see you with someone else. Okay. I am certainly not telling people just go out here and just give it all away, and I'm not saying that. But what I am saying to you is, you have to stop deciding that all of your value and all that you are is based on that one event. Because if you're dating to marry, then you ought to have. Sophie keeps agreeing with me. So Sophie, you must think like a man too, because I've been told that I think like a man. But I'm realistic. I don't have expectations of people that cannot be met. And so I know that if you met me, okay, listen to me, hear me well, because y'all are failing in these dating streets. If you met him Friday night, he just talked to some girl before he got to wherever you met him at, right, and told her he would call her later.
He did.
Everybody got somebody. Everybody has somebody. Nobody is at a complete zero when they meet you. You need to know that, man or woman. So with that being said, you need to understand that you should be dating. You cannot meet this guy and in a week you don't want to talk to anybody else. You're shallow and there's something wrong with you. And even if you really, really like him and the other guys don't hold your attention, you still ought to be meeting other people. Now, here it is. For the people say they can't meet nobody. I don't know where y'all are going. I don't understand what the problem is. But what are you looking for? And what are you doing? And are you going with the girl who always talking about, she Drusilla and Rumpelstiltskin all rolled up in one? Mm-hmm. And you letting her tell the guys not to come up. I mean, there's always something that's going on when you say you can't meet anybody. Well, my expectations are high. I'm not telling you to lower your expectations. What I am telling you is something might be wrong with the way you're delivering your expectations.
And also, if your expectations are a 10 and you at a 5, like,
uh-oh,
not gonna match, because
she a nickel but she want a dime.
Right. Yeah, that dime don't want you.
So here's the other thing.
Stay in your league.
Now look here. Everybody need to realize their limitations now. But, I see on social media how women, and you and I talked about this, how women are always talking about they want this. They want, he want him high yellow with good hair. They want him, black as night and body chiseled like it's been carved out by a Greek god. But you in a whole Spanx in 2 of them. I'm not saying, look, I'm not body shaming. I'm explaining. So you have to have realistic expectations too. If you make $50,000 a year, you want him to make $150,000 a year. Maybe you ought to try to get up to $75,000. He's at $75,000, and now you at your $150,000. I just feel like we need to be more realistic about what it is that we have expectations of, because there's too many good men and good women out here that are alone and lonely and have something to offer. Now, you sent me that post. Was it on Facebook or Twitter, baby?
It was everywhere.
So what did she say? Because she's a trash human.
Yeah, she said only real men pay bills. If you're not trying to pay her bills, you can't get any of her time.
Now, that's a prostitute mentality.
It is.
And too many women have a prostitute mentality. And I believe it started with Lil' Kim, and it started with Foxy Brown. And listen, I'm not shaming nobody, baby. Please believe I was jamming it. Oh, my goodness. Top down on my little Mustang. Remember my little Mustang, Chris? Mm-hmm. And my top down on my 5.0. I had the robe. I was first person in Dallas. Put the new robe. Okay. And I used to listen to it too. So I'm not, but I did not allow that to become part of my psyche. That did not permeate me in such a way where I was out there talking, you got to pay my bills. That's a prostitute mentality. And a lot of women have that because they have decided that the only way a man can demonstrate love and affection is if he's spending money. Let me say something to you. Hear me and hear me well. I'm your sister. I'm your friend. Let me help y'all. Let me bless y'all with this. I'm going to tell you what Jesus loved. This ain't nothing but the truth. When a man cares about you, you don't have to ask him. He will do. but you cannot show up with your hand out. And a lot of y'all are doing what my mama calls, you have a store-bought mentality. You know, when you go to the store, I don't care if it's Macy's or Dillard's or Neiman Marcus, they put the best stuff that right out there at the window. They want everybody to see what's right out there at the window to draw you in. If you are out here taking booty shots on social media and you facing the wall, but your ass is not, you cannot get mad because that man is asking you for that very thing you posted. And now you mad. So then you say, well, you talking to me like that and you must gonna pay these bills. No. That's a prostitute mentality. You did what the stores did. You put that out there to draw him in. Now you trying to tell him he got to go to the clearance rack. It's something wrong with that.
Let me say
that's not how relationships are made, and that's certainly not how they stay.
Dudes look for a couple things like when they're dating, right? One of the things is like if we go out to eat like several times and you never reach for your wallet, that's an issue. Not that we're going to let you pay, but we want to see that you have the propensity to go in your pocket and pay.
Okay, so what about this? Because I've heard this before. If I go out with a guy a few times, you know, how did I say? Oh, shit, I'm just going to say it. Y'all know me. So I eat in very expensive restaurants, 5 and 6 stars sometimes. Sometimes I just get called on a Tuesday. Hey, you want to meet me at Houston's or meet me at Ocean Air? I mean, that happens, okay? That's why I'm trying to bless y'all. So, but there have been times I said, well, here, let me leave a tip. I'm not offering to pay the whole meal because now look, most men will not allow you to pay the bill. Let's be honest. I mean, it's not his birthday, it's not an anniversary. Now, you know, most men won't. They won't. They'll be like, no, I got it. But you could offer to pay the tip because, and it's not that you are demonstrating that you have it, but so many women are out here with a prostitute mentality. They are also trying to weed through those that are not qualified for their time.
Right, and you can't, like, most men, like you said, you're not going to be able to outdo a dude in a relationship.
If he cares.
If he cares. And so, like, if you call, like, it's the thought behind it. If you call, so we went to, just say, if me and whoever, if I was dating, if I was single, I'm dating, so we go to Houston, I need you to call me sometime, and I don't care if you're just picking up Jason's Deli. But I don't expect, we don't, guys.
He says, is your mic working?
Is my mic working?
That's because Chris is so soft-spoken.
Okay. So, we don't,
Angela gonna turn you up.
Turn me up.
Testing.
You know, I lose my train of thought real quick.
He a little ADHD. Go on with your point.
But my point was, you, like I said, you can't outdo a man. I mean, most women, you know, you're not gonna be able to outdo the dude who cares about you. But again, he wants to know that you care. So one of the things you can
says just stop by and pick up Jason's Deli.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something like it ain't no, we ain't looking for.
Stop deciding because he's the man he has to pay for everything.
Right.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Well,
and be considerate.
That's it. That's it right there. Be considerate because that dude gonna do a whole lot for you in your life, and if you can't reciprocate that, it ain't gonna work.
So
and you need to reciprocate it early.
Let me tell you what I did. So somebody very special to me. You know him, but we don't call no names.
Okay.
He was turning 50. Mm-hmm. Now he is very, very kind to me, and concerned about my kids. And I've never formally introduced them like this because that's not where we are, and I don't do that. Okay, and their father is very active in their lives, and I don't want my kids are aware that I date, but they are familiar with the name, but I don't do that because I'm not looking for a father for my children. They have one, and and his kids are grown, so he's certainly not trying to he doesn't need to be put in a position where I think, you know, raising them, that's not what we do. But 50th birthday, he wasn't gonna do much. You know, and I think in his previous life, whatever was done, it never was quite right, okay? Because they were more trying to show off what they could do as opposed, she was a very good earner, as opposed to doing what they want to do. And here's the thing, women, to do something for a man, if it's not his thing to have a big dinner party, don't have a big dinner party. The birthday ought to be for him. So with that being said, he's a big golfer. Every day for a week, he got a golf gift. Every day. The first one was like a gag gift. It was it's called potty golf or toilet golf or something where you sit on, you know, practice. It was hilarious, right? But then there were some other things that came in every day. He got leading up to his 50th. And then it had nothing to do with me. He's a big golfer. I made sure that he and his friends played golf at a very exclusive golf course that he absolutely loved. Because the birthday was not about, I see him all the time. The birthday was not about me. It was about him. And that's what Chris is saying. There ought to be some consideration, and it ought to be some kindness in what you're doing and in the dating. You know, so he is the guy that will drive from where he lives way out, drive all the way to McKinney, drive to Frisco for me, pick this up, take it downtown too. You know, and he never quarrels about that because we have a really good understanding, because the belief is I would do the same for him.
Let me ask you this question, though. How did you figure out he liked golf?
He talked about it. He plays. He, you know.
But you paid attention to what he was saying. So that's the thing. Like dudes, you say dudes are sensitive, right?
They are sensitive. Y'all are sensitive.
But and you're right in a sense.
I don't mean sensitive like you cry babies or nothing, but I mean things affect you, and we expect men not to have any feelings.
Right. Guys don't want to tell you how to treat them because they show you, and if you pay attention and listen, you're gonna know. Because like I don't want to repeat, hey, you know, the same conversation like when you said XYZ or when you did XYZ, you shouldn't have, because if you're paying attention to me and the things that I say and do, you should already know.
And it goes both ways, because for my birthday, Mother's Day, I love tulips. I didn't even remember telling him that I love tulips. I got these beautiful tulips. And I was like, oh my God, I love tulips so much. And he said, I know. So some of this is not trying to see how much you can get out of the relationship. If you really want to have a relationship, because look, he was dating people, I was dating people, hell, he might still be dating people. So I'm just saying that I don't have expectations that I think can go unmet. What I am concerned about at this point is not so much exclusivity. I'm really not. I'm concerned about respectability. If you respect my feelings, you know the friendship and what we have. And we are friends. We really are very, very good friends. And I think that speaks a lot to the kind of relationship that it evolves into. Because you got divorced, Chris, and then you got remarried. And you and I were talking about to somebody that was your friend.
Yes.
That you really do share things with and you talk about things with. And so women say, well, he's my best friend. A lot of times we scoff at that. I know I have. I'm like, wait a minute now. My best friend is that chick that, you know, I tell my ride or die. She know where all the little bodies are buried. I can't tell him all of that.
Different friendships.
But right. But he is my guy. Like, you know, one day he said to me, seemingly I was having some car trouble that really wasn't car trouble. And he said he was a little bit annoyed with me that I didn't let him know what was going on. And he said, well, I feel like I'm your protector. But that's the difference between dating a boy and dating a man. And there's the difference. And you cannot make one be the other. Just like you can't turn a hoe into a housewife, you can't grow a boy into a man for the purposes of dating. And if you are having to do all his stuff for him, then that is a boy and he needs time to grow. And I'm not saying leave him alone, just know your role. A lot of times we get outside of our role. You trying to be a wife when you really ain't even his girlfriend, now you mad. Same thing for men. Look here, if she stay in these streets, you can't hardly catch up with her. Every time you see her on Instagram more than you see her in person, guess what? She ain't the chick for you. Unless you just, and I'm going to say this. Stop deciding that somebody really like what I said. Stop deciding that somebody is the one for you because she dropped her drawers fast. Looks just like she did it for you. She doing it for some others. She dropping it low and spreading it wide.
But you know what,
now, wait a minute. I don't mean just. I don't mean fast in the sense. I know what you're about to say. Fast in the sense of, you know, she didn't put you on a schedule. I'm saying the chick that came to you with it. See, women still, there ought to be a chase there. There ought to be a little bit of him coming after you and pursuing you.
But
and if
don't-
you calling him after you done met him and you've been met in 4 days and the chick is like, what you doing tonight? And it's 11:30. Wait a minute, brother. See, the high five is still out here. That might not be the chick for you.
Right, but and dudes want to chase, but they don't want to chase too much.
They don't want to run to exhaustion.
You got to get caught. You want to. You got to get caught in his time frame. Simply because if you take too long with the chase, he's gonna become disinterested and he's gonna move on.
Well, he doesn't know how to read the signs, because there are a lot of times what we think that we're doing is telling them, "I'm demure. You should chase me. Oh, I'm a damsel in distress. Come save me." Really what you're doing is pushing him away. Cause look,
Right.
okay, here's the other thing. Ladies, these men finna come after me. They finna get me. They not real bright. They spend a lot of time. They don't do what we do. They're not living in their head. You do this, they do that. You do this, they do that. They are not trying to figure you out. They are not doing that. They're not saying, I'm going to call her at 6:01, even though I told her I was going to call her at 5:30 because I want her to wait on me. When he called you, he said, I'm going to call. Look, and he ain't going to never say, I'm going to call you at 5:30. He's going to tell you, I'm going to call you about 5:30 because he don't know what he going to be doing at 5:30. But he's trying to get to you. Now, it's 8:45 and you still haven't heard from him. Well, guess what? He's telling you who he is. He got caught up with something else. Whole weekend go by, he calling you to Tuesday. Guess what? You Tuesday's girl. Now, if you like this brother enough where you feel like you Tuesday's girl, but it's all right, maybe you going to wait till you Wednesday's girl, and hopefully you trying to get to Thursday's girl, and woohoo, if you get to be Friday's girl. If that's your thing, mama, I'm certainly not speaking against that. But I'm saying, when I used to live in Florida, I dated a guy that played football for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was like first line draft pick, right? And so I would go out there sometimes and watch the games because I was in school. And it was not my life to sit out there and support him in that way. And so when you date athletes, that is part of the support system. They all out there. And so I didn't go. And so they had like this little scrimmage or something. And I went out there. And it was like in the middle of the week and it wasn't a lot of people there. And so a chick that I had seen all the time, she was very Caucasian. And she made the statement to me. She said, I haven't seen you in a while. And I was like, no, I'm in school, blah, blah, blah. And so she went on to explain to me her philosophy. And her philosophy went like this. Black women, because I put my eyebrow up, because I was like, I'm going to have to slap this woman at the Jacksonville Jaguars little practice field. And she said, black women tend to do this. Y'all will date a guy, and then y'all don't show up, and then you mad when another girl shows up. She said, let me tell you what we do. We realize, he only calls on Wednesday afternoons. For me, he called me on Wednesday afternoons, and that's it. But I made up in my mind. I knew he had potential. I knew where he was going. I was going to move from Wednesday afternoon, and I was going to get to Friday. And eventually I got to Friday and Saturday and Sunday. And when we moved here together, and I now live with him. That was her thing. That was not my thing, because I'm just not cut out to be the beck and call girl. But that was her thing. So if that is your thing, then that's fine. Do you. But understand what that role is. Know your role and play your game and stop trying to play his. I'm saying the same thing to the brothers. That's a chick you really like, but you can't seem to catch her like you want to. But then maybe you need to play a different game, but play your game and not hers. Because y'all are out here dating in these streets and mad after 2 weeks and quitting people and losing some good opportunities because you don't understand the game. And y'all out here hating the players. Shakespeare said it best. He said that the world is a stage and we are all merely actors. Some of y'all need to figure out who you are before you decide you're going to judge somebody else. This is Coy with the Black Tea Sip. I had Chris in here with me today, my brother from another mother. I have Angelo on the ones and twos. This is my engineer extraordinaire. And Courtney Kitchen, who is the intern of Exceptional Possibilities, who will be in studio soon, who is my researcher. All right, Diamond Pearls and Jerry Curls, and we out till next week.
Diamond Pearls and Jerry Curl.